Dawning Light is Tao. Ow! Cancelled out by Vivian, who finds the Divine Judgment LW with a penalty zone. Defensively, Moby! Echo with a bravest fire and a stun out to 3. City with a flicker forward, now with a mini wave up and ready. They're gonna go for the end. Caramel's gonna lose her life. That's the Dawning Light. We're gonna dive in straight to the land of Dawn. BIGETRON era on the blue side, starting on the orange buff. Caramel starting on the purple buff.
Well, it is going to be a Lunox, so starting in the purple buff makes sense. It's Caramel with the Mystery Shop as the emblem, trying to get to that power spike as soon as possible. But of course, on the other side, BIGETRON, they have Viva on the Demon Slayer Fredrin. It's more normal, I guess, less unique coming out from the side of BIGETRON. And Shell already with the Inspire being used, so that gold lane, there's just a lot of aggression there, but might be a mistake.
Well, Chell is able to stop Tao from that engage. Gets a little bit of poke down too with the help of Vivian. And in the gold lane, you can already see the Moskov being a little bit more oppressive compared to Chin Chow, who's going to be shoved in again, losing out on the trade. See, this is so annoying, right? The way the passive works for Chell, Moskov.
Right. I mean, later on in the team fights, it's also a lot of AoE damage, especially when everyone's clumped down together. But now it seems like there's going to be a bit of an engagement. And I do wonder, right? At this point, it does seem like BIGETRON will have the advantage in the early skirmishes, especially once level 5 is here. But, ooh, then the GPX goes for aggressive plays first.
Not really going to work out just yet. Vivian saves her flicker as well.
Good try, good try. Already some movements coming in from GPX. They are trying to get the initial damage onto the members of BIGETRON era, but they're not going to be able to do that just yet. I think it's going to be quite a slow early game, honestly, because both of these teams are going to be reliant on that level 4 to make those huge plays. But when it goes to that first turtle, both of them, they need to find that level 4 as soon as possible if they want to get the advantage on that neutral objective.
I think later on, LW will also have a big role to play here. If she can get to the back line, it's definitely a different fight altogether. And looking at the positioning, it might just be GPX with a bit more advantage.
Vivian cutting Tao's movement off. Now Blast charged in. That's onto one member, only Viva, who gets caught. Fumieko into the back line with the bravest fighter, going for the stun. Gets Tao. Vivian already with the help of Viva, dealing so much damage. Caramel as well, super low. Fumi flickers forward and first blood over to BIGETRON era. It's another onto the hands of Viva. Now with Divine Judgment as well. LW is going to be locked down. Flickers out to safety. Cine waiting desperately for that cooldown for the ultimate. There you go. I called it. I knew it. They went for it. And that's another for BTR.
3-4-0 trade for BIGETRON era here in the 3rd minute. 1,000 gold lead, a bit more now that they've been able to secure that turtle. And this was my concern about the Lunox jungle. Sure, in the mid towards the late game, when the Lunox is a little bit more viable in terms of that damage, we will see BIGETRON era start to sweat. But in this early game, this Fredrin, even the Lapu Lapu, for all they know, is going to have huge pressure onto the Lunox and denying all these neutral objective takes away from GPX BASRENG.
It's definitely going to be a very tough game for Chin Chow, of all people, because that's how BIGETRON era likes to play. They like to shut down your main carries, and you saw that in the previous fight. Like, everyone just gets zoned out completely. Even though LW tried to do the same, it's just not the same kind of speed, the same kind of threat that comes in from a Lapu Lapu with the bravest fighter. So with a 1.5k gold lead right here, BIGETRON era can push the tempo, but I think they're going to play it just slightly a bit more calculatively because they require like a 5v5 in order to get the best value out of all these combos.
I mean, up to this point, I'm not too worried about Chin Chow. We've seen her in positions where she's really behind, where she's really pressured, and eventually she's still able to make it. But look at this, BIGETRON era, looking for a pick perhaps onto her.
Look at the movement from GPX as well. Lumen on Blast, not able to connect onto anyone. Vivian still has the flicker. Down below, Fumieko in a 1v1 against a Blade Bully. What? Fumieko. This is a losing matchup for the Lapu. The Terizla is the one who's forced to recall away, and that's going to be a wave cut, giving Fumieko a little bit more time to play. Chell getting the stun down onto Tao, goes in for another stun. Mystic Field stopping Chin Chow from dealing any more damage. Vivian with the Divine Judgment as well. That's the Dawning Light to follow it through. Chell looking for more. Chin Chow forced to flicker out. That's the Spear of Destruction, barely missing. Let's talk a little bit about the global presence here, because Dawning Light and the Spear?
That's just a tough situation for anyone. It can be used so dynamically as well. Yes, it does damage and you can secure kills with it, but it can be comboed. Like in the first fight earlier, we saw that Spear actually do so much damage to everyone that it actually hit in that fight, 3 or 4 members. And later on, it can be used to scout for information. It can be used to stop recall. So the usage, especially in the hands of a team as creative as BIGETRON Era, it's just a very terrifying possibility.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to highlight, right? It's not just damage, but also map visibility and even a chance to steal the neutral objectives if they time it properly. But now, BIGETRON Era, still a 4,000 gold lead. GPX trying to fight back, trying to find some compensation on the board. But so far, BIGETRON Era, they haven't been playing towards GPX BASRENG. They haven't been playing in towards their tempo. They're setting the tempo, and right now it's paying off.
Oh no, that's
Fine judgment again. Tao brought back to the team. That's the 5th kill of the game in the 5th minute of the game. Viva looking for the 6th in the 6th minute of the game. Gonna be able to actually follow it through. Brilliance already popped in. Caramel caught. Still is able to run away. Chinchao dealing his damage back again to zone BTR, but that's a structure up top. Picked up tier 1 for BTR Era as the Terizla is able to shove in the way, but with Fumieko rotating back, she decides to recall.
It's a 4K goalie for BIGETRON, but early on, you did see, we were seeing that Fumieko was so dominant in the lane. She just finished the Bloodlust Axe, so she was doing all that without the extra bit of sustain. So maybe we'll see in the highlights later on, but that is a very impressive performance. And now BIGETRON, they are not letting up on this pressure, man. Jungle, mid, top, everywhere is not safe for the members of GPX.
Yeah, because again, the dawning light, right, just comes through and checks in the bush. That's Shell who picks up her 2nd turret of the game. Down below in the tier 1, using the siege again properly, using the lane swaps as well. GPX a bit behind when it comes to the lane swap game right now. Fumieko, once again, playing that weak side of the map. Doing it really well, playing in the bush, not really going for anything too crazy. Will be able to dish out a little bit of damage. Wants to go for a 1v1 here against Chinchao, who has the flicker, gets out of damage. Fumieko jumping into the Raven Spider! Oh my goodness gracious, Fumi against her ex-team. Vivian steps back in, finds the kill. That's the Mystic Field to lock Tao down. The Divine Judgment to bring Tao back. Sini is looking for more. Just one more hit. Sini is waiting for the Dawning Light again. Will it come back in time? Funi looking for the Divine Judgment by here in that top side. That's the Dawning Light, not connecting. Sini on the Xavier. Chell, her sister in the mid lane, taking the tier 1.
This is brutal. This is brutal for GPX, and right now, BIGETRON Era, with the space that they have created, they are going to be able to steal away the buffs away from GPX as we're heading into an instant replay of what exactly happened to Chinchao there.
Look at that, Fumieko baited out the dash initially and then went into the Bravest Spider. Afterwards, once the flicker was used, she followed in with the flicker last second to catch her in that stun, and that was the end of it. A very impressive play by Fumieko to start the sequence of events that now, I think, leads to BIGETRON Era having full control of the map. Even the jungle is no longer safe. GPX forced to turtle around their structures as BIGETRON Era, still with the global presence, with the poke advantage, they have all the tools available to just siege GPX consistently. GPX need to do something crazy, otherwise this is an eventuality that BIGETRON Era will actually come out on top.
I mean, honestly, right now, with the way that BIGETRON Era is playing, I am kind of curious to see the development of the items from GPX BASRENG. Because previously in the, I think the 6th minute, the Lunox was only able to get that Clock of Destiny, but here you go. How far? See, still a Clock of Destiny. She's falling so far behind the opponent's jungle.
She's been taken out twice, and she's losing out on her own jungle as well. Look at the positioning early on for BIGETRON, and even look at them now. They're just waiting in the jungles and almost never in the same bush, just waiting to catch the members of GPX off guard, and they have more than enough crowd control to engage first and even re-engage on GPX's counter attack. So they have all the tools available, man. I keep saying it, but it is true. So with the Lord coming up right here, GPX, they have their backs against the wall, against their own base essentially.
That gave me flashbacks of the Sanford play, man. My goodness. Fumieko against her ex-team, by the way, right? GPX. Yeah. She's tearing it apart. Chell with a free Lord. First Lord, not contested at all. 10,000 gold lead before the 10th minute of the game. They take away everything in the enemy jungle. GPX are forced to group up together in the orange buff side of the map. And this is brutal, man. You can see the level differences already. Cello as a goal laner, 2 levels up. Fumi Echo, 2 levels up.
Caramel Vival, 3.
I mean, look at Chincha, right? She can't find any place to farm now, finally, but early on, just the mere fact that BIGETRON Era are not on the map, that is enough concern for her to just disappear and back away. Caramel now has the Lightning Truncheon, but we'll have to see, will that be enough damage in the next fight? It needs to all go to the right person. But who is it? That is the main question.
I mean, at this point, trying to get one person, then the other
Yep.
will step up. It's like you're up against a Hydra, right?
No.
Multiple heads. Chell now gonna go for the siege. For me, Echo looking for a big play again. Donning line is Tao. Ow!
Oh!
Cancelled out
Wow.
by Vivian, who finds the Divine Judgment LW with a penalty zone. Defensively, Moby! Echo with the bravest fire and a stun out to 3. Cindy with the flicker forward, now with a mini wave up and ready. They're gonna go for the end. Caramel's gonna lose her life. That's the Dawning Light. BTR with 0 members taken down. Dominance doesn't do it justice. 11-0. Complete destruction, annihilation from BIGETRON in game 1.